A continent of superlatives, vast enough to swallow Europe whole, is entombed beneath a carapace of ice that reaches depths of more than 3 kilometers. To the human eye, it is a monument to stillness, a silent, immutable world of white. But this is an illusion. Beneath the frozen shield, Antarctica is not a dead desert. It is a hidden world, dynamic and alive. And the processes unfolding in its depths possess the power to reshape the lives of every human being, even those thousands of kilometers away. This is because Antarctica is not merely ice. It is a realm of liquid water, of buried mountain ranges rivaling the Alps, and of sunless lakes that have not seen the sky in millennia. It is a world of pressurized subterranean rivers, of rock warmed by the planet's core, and of microbial life that thrives where no human could possibly survive. It is the planet's most pristine archive, a place that preserves the deep past, and in doing so, holds the keys to our collective future. To understand its secrets, one must first understand its great schism. The continent is cleaved into 2 distinct domains. Eastern Antarctica is a high, cold, geological fortress, its ice grounded firmly upon an ancient shield of rock. But Western Antarctica is a different entity entirely. Much of its ice rests on a bedrock that lies far below sea level, a vast basin precariously exposed to the warming world. When the ocean finds its way beneath this ice, it begins to melt the continent from its foundations. Once a glacier in this vulnerable region begins to lose its footing, its retreat can become an unstoppable acceleration. Herein lies the first reason the world beneath the ice can change our own. The level of the sea. It is a common misconception that the great melt is driven only from above by warmer air. In Antarctica, the most insidious threat often comes from below. Relatively warm, dense ocean water infiltrates the continent's edge, sliding beneath the colossal ice shelves, those floating buttresses that hold back the titanic glaciers of the interior. These shelves act as a colossal break. If they thin or fracture, the ice pouring into the sea. As this land-based ice enters the ocean, it melts, and the global sea level rises. A change of mere decimeters is enough to redraw coastlines, to amplify storm surges, to make flooding a constant threat in low-lying cities, destroying ports, roads, and entire communities. This is not a distant abstraction. It is a force that touches economies, insurance markets, homes, and the lives of millions. But the assault does not come from the ocean alone. A more ancient, elemental force is at work. Beneath the ice, the ground is not uniformly cold. Western Antarctica is scarred by a vast and active geological rift system. This is not the violent fire of an erupting volcano, but a slow, persistent bleed of heat from the planet's core. In certain areas, this geothermal warmth seeps upwards, delivering energy directly to the base of the ice sheet. This heat can dramatically increase the rate of basal melt, lubricating the bedrock and feeding a second hidden world, the realm of subglacial water. Under kilometers of crushing ice, a clandestine network of lakes and rivers exists, a plumbing system on a continental scale. This water, warmed from below, allows the ice to slide ever faster toward the sea. The past, locked from millennia, is becoming liquid, and in its flow it carries a message from the deep earth, a warning that will redraw the maps of our world. What happens in this silent, hidden realm does not stay there. It dictates the future of coastlines we have always called home. The ice sheet does not yield its secrets to the warmth of the air. Deep within, a transformation is underway, driven not by the sun, but by a trinity of immense forces. It begins with pressure, the colossal weight of 4 kilometers of solid ice, a force so great it can alter the very state of matter. To this is added the faint but persistent geothermal heat radiating from the planet's core, a warmth that seeps up from below. And finally, there is the ceaseless, grinding friction of ice in motion, a continent on the move, generating its own internal fire. The result is liquid water. But this is no static, frozen pond. In some regions, it pools into lakes of staggering size, vast inland seas hidden from human eyes for millennia. In others, it flows, carving a complex network of channels and rivers through the bedrock. It is a phantom hydrology, an invisible circulatory system, a lattice of veins and arteries pulsing beneath a body of ice the size of a nation. One such feature, a subglacial lake of legendary proportions, was unveiled not by sight, but by the penetrating echoes of radar. Its name is a footnote in scientific journals. The idea it represents, however, is a headline for the planet. For where there is water, the ice above no longer grinds against rock flow. This liquid layer acts as a lubricant on a continental scale, a mechanism that can dramatically accelerate the march of glaciers toward the sea. Here, buried beneath the Antarctic ice, is a trigger for global change. An acceleration in one key drainage basin can unleash a cascade of consequences, pulling more and more ice from the interior in a chain reaction governed not by magic, but by the cold, hard laws of physics. It is for this reason that scientists dedicate their lives to understanding the boundary between ice and Earth. For it is at this hidden interface that the future of our coastlines is being written. Yet there is another dimension to this world, one even more disquieting, more fascinating. If these lakes have been sealed off from the surface world for millions of years, what, if anything, lives within them? In conditions of absolute extremity, total darkness, crushing pressure, and near starvation levels of nutrients, could life have found a way? We are not speaking of monsters from a forgotten age, but of something far more resilient: microbial life. Organisms that have evolved to metabolize minerals, to survive in a realm of profound silence and cold, entirely divorced from the sun-drenched world we know. The search for this life is of monumental importance for 2 distinct reasons. First, it would redefine the very limits of endurance for life on Earth, proving that it can persist in environments we once considered utterly sterile. Second, and perhaps more profoundly, Antarctica becomes a natural laboratory, a terrestrial analog for some of the most tantalizing targets in our solar system. If life can thrive in the subglacial lakes of Earth, then perhaps it can survive in the dark, liquid oceans believed to exist beneath the frozen crust of Jupiter's moon, Europa, or the icy shell of Saturn's Enceladus. The Antarctic abyss is a proving ground for one of humanity's oldest questions. Are we alone? And the secrets do not end with water and the ghost of life. Beneath it all lies a lost topography. It seems an absurdity to imagine, but under this monolithic shield of ice lie entire mountain ranges, buried and forgotten. These are not mere hills, but vast ancient chains, some as grand as the Alps, sculpted in an epoch when the climate was unrecognizable and Antarctica was a green continent. Today, these unseen ranges are the secret architects of the ice sheet's destiny. They dictate its form, steer its internal currents, and govern the velocity of its glaciers. They are the invisible obstacles and channels that guide the flow of ice, unseen by any satellite. A deep, hidden valley becomes a superhighway, funneling ice towards the ocean at an alarming rate. A buried mountain ridge acts as a brake, holding back the frozen tide. To predict the future, to understand how quickly and how far our seas will rise, we must first map this ghost continent. The world beneath the ice is a key to the world of tomorrow. We must chart the canyons and peaks that no human eye has ever seen, because their shapes determine the pathways of our own future. It is there, in that vast and silent darkness, that the answers to the fate of our sunlit coastlines lie waiting. Beneath the crushing weight of its own existence, the Antarctic ice sheet is more than a landscape of risk. It is an archive. Here, time is not measured in days or seasons, but in layers of compressed snow, a library of time stacked miles deep. Each stratum, laid down year after year for hundreds of thousands of years, is a frozen page from Earth's autobiography. Locked within this crystalline record are relics of a world long vanished. Tiny, perfect bubbles of air. They are not merely empty spaces, they are pristine samples of ancient atmospheres, captured and held in stasis. Within these microscopic time capsules lie the secrets of the planet's breath. By drilling deep into the ice, scientists extract these frozen chronicles. In sterile laboratories, they carefully release the trapped gases, listening to the whispers of ancient atmospheres. They measure the carbon dioxide, analyze the isotopes, and from this, they reconstruct the climate of a forgotten Earth. They can chart the ebb and flow of ice ages, pinpoint the temperatures of millennia past, and trace the natural rhythms of our world's climatic cycles. This knowledge is not an academic curiosity. It is a Rosetta Stone for our future. Antarctica provides a direct, physical record of what happens when a planet's delicate equilibrium is disturbed. This data forges the bedrock of our most sophisticated climate models, transforming abstract theory into tangible risk assessment. It allows us to understand the precipices upon which we now stand. For deep within the ice, a memory of the world resides, and that memory is issuing a stark warning that when certain thresholds are crossed, the systems that govern our world can shift with a speed and finality that defy human timescales. But if Antarctica holds the power to shape our understanding of the world, its influence is not confined to the realm of science. It extends into the fraught arena of geopolitics. The entire continent operates under a remarkable and fragile truce, the Antarctic Treaty System. This international accord, a rare beacon of post-war cooperation, designates the continent as a scientific preserve, explicitly limiting military activity and postponing all territorial claims. It is a pact that holds a continent in common for all humanity. For now, this equilibrium is maintained by the continent's own defenses. The sheer extremity of the environment, the colossal expense, the logistical nightmare, the profound isolation, renders large-scale exploitation an impractical dream. Yet, the world is changing. As the ice melts and new technologies emerge, the temptation to view this last pristine wilderness as a final untapped reserve intensifies. The conversation surrounding mineral extraction and resource acquisition is, for the moment, more a whisper in the corridors of power than a practical reality. But the interest is there, a latent ambition waiting for opportunity. As any frontier becomes more accessible, the pressure to claim it invariably grows. Then, there is the paradox of water. In a world increasingly defined by hydrological stress and crippling droughts, the Antarctic ice sheet, holding some 70% of the planet's fresh water, becomes a resource of unimaginable value. The logistics of harvesting and transporting these colossal icebergs remain monumentally challenging, the economics prohibitive. But the idea itself has been seeded. It alters the geopolitical calculus, adding a new layer of tension to international relations. For when a thing is both immensely precious and immensely vast, it is only a matter of time before someone tries to claim a piece of it. And yet, amidst these looming pressures, another of Antarctica's identities endures, that of a peerless scientific platform. It is, for instance, one of the finest places on Earth to hunt for messengers from outer space. The slow, inexorable flow of the ice acts as a vast conveyor belt, gathering meteorites that have fallen over millennia and concentrating them in specific zones. Against the stark white canvas of the ice fields, these dark, extraterrestrial stones stand out in sharp relief. Each one is a fragment of the primordial solar system, a physical artifact from the time of planetary formation. To study them is to ask the most fundamental questions. How did our world come to be? From where did our oceans come? How were the building blocks of life distributed across the cosmos? Beyond the ice, there is the sky. The high-altitude plateau, with its thin, dry, and exceptionally stable atmosphere, offers a window to the universe of unparalleled clarity. Free from the light pollution and atmospheric turbulence that plague observatories elsewhere, telescopes here can gaze deeper into the cosmos, capturing images of cosmic dawn and the birth of galaxies. Antarctica is, therefore, a place of profound duality. It is a record of our planet's deepest past and a potential catalyst for our most contentious futures. It is a laboratory for understanding the universe and a potential battleground for the last of Earth's resources. It is the quietest place on the planet, yet it speaks volumes about where we have come from and, more importantly, about the choices that will define where we are going. In the planet's most extreme crucible of cold and silence, the Antarctic continent offers a unique vantage point. Its pristine, arid atmosphere is a window to the cosmos, while its immense ice sheet serves as a vast natural laboratory. Here, buried deep within the crystalline darkness, sophisticated instruments wait. They use the ice itself as a medium, a colossal detector designed to capture the universe's most elusive particles, ghostly messengers from distant galaxies that pass through nearly everything, yet leave their faint signature in this frozen stillness. This is science at the very edge of possibility, a quest to understand the fundamental architecture of reality, and in doing so, to understand ourselves. But to go beneath Antarctica is not merely to drill through ice. It is to peer beneath the surface of a world that only appears static. For the central question is not what we can discover there, but how this continent will actively reshape our world in the years to come. The most immediate answer lies in the stability of the West Antarctic ice sheet. This single immense body of ice is a sleeping leviathan. If it continues to lose mass faster than our models predict, the subsequent rise in global sea levels will be far greater than most coastlines are prepared to withstand. This is not a distant threat. It is a relentless rewriting of our maps, putting direct and immense pressure on coastal cities, inundating ports, and crippling economies. It triggers mass internal migrations, fuels social tensions, and accrues costs on a scale difficult to comprehend. Understanding the processes unfolding beneath that ice, therefore, becomes a tool for survival. More accurate forecasts change the very nature of our decisions. They dictate where we build our future cities, what coastlines we must protect, and how we engineer our defenses against the rising tide. This science is not born of simple curiosity. It is a practical guide for navigating the coming century. Beyond the physical, Antarctica has become a symbol, a test of our collective will. If the nations of the world can act in concert to preserve this last great wilderness, it demonstrates a capacity for cooperation and foresight. But if it becomes another chessboard for resource competition and territorial claims, then the conflicts that erupt on this frozen frontier will serve as a chilling prologue to the struggles that will define our future. Yet there is a final, more profound truth. The ice sheet forces a shift in perspective. It reveals that parts of the planet which seem impossibly remote are in fact intimately connected to the whole. Beneath the crushing weight of millennia lies a dynamic system, one that responds to the warmth of the oceans, the pressure of the atmosphere, and the chemistry of the air. It is an equilibrium of immense scale, but it is not infinite. Antarctica is not a distant landmass. It is a fulcrum upon which the world pivots. Hidden in the darkness and silence, a mechanism is at work that can raise the oceans, redraw our shores, and shift the balance of political power. It preserves the memory of Earth's climate, telling us not only where we have been, but precisely where we are headed. The continent that appears most frozen in time is, in truth, one of the most potent engines of change. We do not see it move, but it is working. And in its silent, frozen depths, it holds not only the memory of our world's past, but the blueprint for a future it will help to write.